So today's question is about relationship agreements. In Cuddle Party, we say to honor them, but how do we go about forming them, figuring them out, figuring out what we need, what we want, what we're willing, and all the complication that comes with it?
This is such a good question. Uh, I think the first thing is just to know that that is always a work in progress, right? We're always changing. We are always a work in progress. If we're living and learning, we're growing and changing. And I have found, I guess, one of the biggest adventures for me is right, know thyself. This thing to really, the first thing in relationship agreements is to go inside and say, what do I need? What do I need to feel, well, to feel good? But really, this means to feel in my integrity, to feel like I approve of myself and I'm proud of myself. And these are the things that I feel good about. And in connecting with other people, what are those things? What is my criteria? And there's no right or wrong answer to that. Everybody out there has an opinion about it. The world is full of telling us shoulds and shouldn'ts and what we should and shouldn't do. And that's the big adventure, is like, well, what's true for me? So if I'm going to connect with somebody on a level that's more intimate, that's more personal, that's more closer, maybe more physical than I would with, the person I pass in the grocery store, what that's up to me. I get to say how I'm going to relate to those people and what are the things that I need. And that's a big question. So there's no simple answer to that. But I think when it comes to agreements, and see if I can sit down and come up with like maybe 5 highlight items that say, this is what I need to know about their history, about who else they're interacting with and how they're interacting with those people. Those are things that I need to know. I need to know something maybe about their values or about their lifestyle or whatever it is that I need to know to feel this is a good fit for me, that this is something I'll be happy doing. And if I can identify those, that gives me a really good starting point. And then if I meet somebody where I'm getting to the place where maybe I'm interested in taking this deeper, to offer those to them. And there's a couple ways you could do that. Some are to say, hey, these are the things about me. This is my lifestyle and my beliefs and my recent interaction with other people. These are the things I've done. How about you? Right. So you could offer that personal information as a, hey, FYI, this is who I am. And it's really a gift to open up to somebody in that way. That's intimate already in itself. And then to say, how about you? And say, and then you see how will they answer these questions and how you feel from there. So that's a good starting point. Alternately, you could say, I'm interested in maybe doing more and taking this relationship further. Are you interested in that as well? And if so, I'd like to ask you some direct personal questions. Are you okay with that? And that's a really, that's another way to, and then you could just ask them the questions, and then follow that up with, is there anything you need to know about me? What would you like to know about me? And so those are 2 sort of practical, I hope that's sort of just a practical way to kind of approach what are my relationship needs, and then how can I communicate those with someone else in a way to get more information that's going to help me feel safe about making those choices about what I want to do next.
That makes sense. And navigating, the marshmallow experiment, how do I know if my choices now that seem fine in this moment are going to serve me in the future? Like we only have so much psychic ability. How to make the right choice for our long-term future self when that might conflict with our this moment self.
Well, there's a couple ways to think about that. And this is a couple of thoughts that are coming up in response to that. One is that, right, living and learning, we will fall down sometimes and scrape our knees, and it won't always feel great. And that's got to be okay. It is, mistakes are part of the learning process. Perfectionism is a myth, I say. So some acceptance, some humility about that. and a lot of forgiveness for ourselves and others, compassion about that. And then the other is, there is a difference between short-term gratification and long-term gratification. And I think we all sort of know that there's a trade-off. And, you know, it's okay to do something for short-term gratification if we acknowledge and are willing to accept responsibility for the disappointment that might come later. But, or we might just say, you know what, I'm going to say no this time, as tempting and wonderful as that might be. I don't want to pay the price long term.
That makes a lot of sense. And I think it can be helpful to think about as much as possible in advance and decide, like, when doing that introspection, do it. You know, if you've got a plate of Oreos offered to you, do it when you're not hungry. Like, do your deciding about the Oreos
Yes.
when you've just had your full healthy meal.
Yes.
How you feel about Oreos, and not when you've been fasting for 24 hours and this is the first thing you have available.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of great knowledge. I so look forward to expounding upon it another time. And I thank you so much for sharing all you've shared.
You're so welcome, Larysa.